Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Another edition of Atlanta Hawks recap. We come to you now with a loss to the Milwaukee Bucks last night. We fell last night 123 to 115. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I couldn't fit everything in the title. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, it is going to be an interesting show today, a much needed show because I still have some stuff I want to get off my chest. I know Matt does as well. Welcome to the stream. And Matt, how you feeling?
I am thinking about the game last night. I am very disappointed. I thought that was a very winnable game, especially considering that they got to fly all the way to play the Raptors tomorrow, and they don't really play. They haven't played the Raptors too well. They play them well as far as the game, but as far as win-loss record over the last few years, it's been kind of tough. So, if you would have got that Milwaukee win, you're energized, ready to go, and even if you drop that Toronto game, you're still in a really good position. Um, you know, if Bud was able to do what he did against Nate yesterday, I can only imagine what Nick Nurse is going to be able to do. I mean, he's going to, use him and abuse him tomorrow night.
Yeah, this is going to be something because this is the second championship coach that we're going to be seeing. Bud won a championship. Nick Nurse won a championship. Just a loss that I hate losing. But just a loss that it's going to hurt because, like I said, I've been a big proponent. Like, listen, look, you're gonna need a lot of these games. You're gonna look back and say, "Man, I wish we would have done a few things different." And we've already lost. We've already dropped one to Milwaukee. I'm okay now. But looking back at it last night, it's like, man, where could we have made those adjustments? Where could we have done things differently? How could we have played the matchups differently? And then
because you look at I don't mean to cut you off, analyst, but
Go
you look at last year, right? You look at just the Philadelphia game on ESPN at the early part of the season last year. You look at that Dallas game when Luka was in foul trouble. You look at that Spurs game. You look at the games against the Pistons. Now, instead of playing in the playing tournament, now you're comfortably to 60, and you got an extra 10 days or 8 days off before the end of the regular season and first game of the playoffs, so you're more well rested. So they may seem small in the moment, but when you, especially how competitive this Eastern Conference is, you definitely want to win winnable games.
For sure. And you know, I thought last night off our bench, I thought we could have used some instant shooting. I thought AJ would have provided that. And listen, I
Analyst, you freeze? I think I think analyst froze. Okay, so to continue analyst thought, if I could, are you back?
I might be, but I want to make sure my mic is good. Is my mic good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that happens quite a bit. It's raining here and stuff, and yeah. So I'm probably not gonna get the best internet connection. But like just I forgot what I was talking about, honestly.
Last night you said AJ Griffin could help with the shooting and some of the lineups.
The matchups. I thought the matchups were poor. Milwaukee. I remember Milwaukee made a substitution late in the game, where they put Wesley Matthews in the game for Bobby Portis, and that was a strict matchup, mismatch type thing, and they beat us on it. It was so ridiculous. I literally saw. I forgot who it was, but someone got beat off the dribble, and it was so ridiculous. Like, I think it was Justin Holiday or something like that. Like, we don't ever we don't ever match up right, and it's just, to me, it's just one of those things that if we make the right adjustments, then then we can see us win some of those mismatches. Because listen, we got to be a little bit more versatile. We got to get more versatile. We got to get to the point where now we're making those mismatch adjustments and we're hurting teams in the mismatch.
Yeah, yeah. And then defensively, I felt that we scored a lot of points, but 115, but I felt we went into some lows without turning the game. And we're supposed to be past that point with Murray on the court, where we don't just go into so many holes on offense, black holes. And a lot of that to me has to do with the offense or lack thereof. It's so many possessions where it's so random. And it may, Murray may make a great move and get a shot off, but it's not good offense. And you may make a couple of them shots, but over time as the game progresses, you're going to start to miss a lot of those shots, and you're going to fall behind. And you kept pointing out during the game, and was you can't take a lot of bad shots. You can't be reckless with your offensive possessions because it's going to hurt you on the other end. A 2-point game is going to turn into an 8-point game real quick. And so
Quick,
at
yeah.
the beginning of the game, I said we have to get good offensive possessions every possession. You're not going to make all the shots, but the looks have to be there because you can't allow Milwaukee to get ahead of steam. They'll run you out the building. And I felt Nate didn't do a good enough job last night in making adjustments, obviously, but he also didn't do a good enough job with slowing the game down and making it more of a half court game. They took a lot of quick shots. He has this reliance, with Justin and Aaron Holiday. For some reason, I have no idea why, particularly Justin Holiday. I mean, he put, last night, I don't know, this before Justin got in the game, I'm like, okay, AJ showed up last night. We're going to be able to see him. He's going to be the first,
Yep.
well, maybe not the first guy off the bench, but he's going to be one of our first guys off the bench. He's going to come in and replace Hunter. Who do we see? Justin Holiday. Very next play for Milwaukee, he gets it beat off the dribble bad. Capella has to step up, and it's a dunk, And it's like, I don't understand what is this reliance, this crutch that he has with Justin and Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday played 25 minutes yesterday and gave me 2 points. That's unacceptable. And I understand we'll get into John, I'm sure, and Dre. They got to be much more aggressive and assertive. But at the same time, as you saw in the Pistons game, they ran a lot of sets to get Dre going because he was kind of reluctant, but they ran a lot of sets to get him the ball purposefully. I felt last night they didn't do that. It was kind of like I said, real helter skelter, real herky jerky offense, and it was nothing deliberate and precise.
Yeah, I agree. The one of the things is well, first of all, I'm okay with Aaron getting some of those minutes. I thought it was really solid in the Detroit game. Justin Holiday, not so much. Even though Justin made some big shots, I still wanted to see AJ. I want to see AJ. I want AJ that if something happens to Justin Holiday where he gets injured in the playoffs or before the playoffs, I want AJ to have all confidence going into that game. I don't want him making rookie mistakes. I don't want him making this mistake, making that mistake, or looking nervous out there because it's going to be Nate's fault because you didn't play him enough during the regular season to give him all that confidence. Some shout outs in the chat real quick. Big O, welcome to the loss. He says very gut wrenching loss, but loved the fight though. I thought we fought back in it. I thought we grinded back in it. I thought it started with Onyeka, Kongu, Trey. I thought it started with those guys. And just Justin Holiday, I'll give him. I was giving some credit there. Those are some.
I like the handle.
Shots. Huh?
I said I like the handle. Big O with the jam.
And he was hurt when Ryan Cameron got let go because that's where that came from. They go with the jam.
Uh,
Rico, welcome to the stream, brother. He says, analyst, what's up? Nate made a huge mistake keeping Clint in late in the fourth over a Congo. Clint was getting destroyed.
and
We
what
are
did I
on
write
the.
in it? What did I say, analyst? What did I say in the group chat? What did
Hey,
I say?
he was sitting in the chat and he was like, Matt goes, watch Nate take a Congo and put Clint in the game. And I was like, I really hope you're wrong. I really hope you're wrong because if this is like, I knew it was coming, but I didn't want to believe it. And he does it. Rico, we're on the same sheet of music, brother, because that right there, when I say you put Clint, the first action they ran, Bud knew. First action they ran was Drew going right to the basket, shooting it right over Clint. Shooting it right over. And Clint doesn't contest wherever Clint doesn't meet the guard. Clint staggers. It's just, I'm telling you, it was just awful. Beasley, welcome
And
to the
it's
stream.
like he's just so. And last night we talk Hawk. Shout out to Damon, but I'm like I told them last night, like certain people act like Capella is a great defensive anchor and this defensive stalwart. In actuality, he's not. He's average. He's very average. And I was listening to was I listening to the game or was I listening to a podcast? I can't remember. But they had I think it was Bob Raffman, and he had asked Clint about his play, grade itself early on in the season. And he talking about, he's still getting his legs under him. What?
Bruh,
What?
I'm telling you.
What?
I'm telling you. I was like, what have you been doing all off season while everyone else been working? I'm like, he's getting his legs under him. I guarantee he would have been gotten his legs under him way before had he been in trade rumors like some of the other better centers. Welcome to the stream, Joe and Beasley. Welcome to the stream. I do agree with you, Beasley. They should have
Beasley.
gotten
I agree with
Collins
that, Beasley.
more
That's what I was saying
involved.
yesterday. They should have got Collins more. Now, some of that is himself. He has to be more aggressive himself. But that's what I said about being more precise on offense. You can run sets to get Collins the ball more, cross screens, down screens, double stagger screens where Collins is not, where he's catching it on the run and he could go to attack the basket to shift the defense. And I said last night that we didn't do that enough, and you can't expect us to attack a set defense, especially with their length and height. You have to get them moving and then attack it downhill. You can't.
Exactly.
It's like a football trying to run it up the middle against a stout defensive front. You have to attack the perimeters first, and then you go up the middle. Once you got the leverage. But last night was a coaching blunder, to put it gently.
For sure. And I'll say this: it was coaching was terrible. But I'll say this: um, I want to introduce, like, we're going to talk about Hunter, we're going to talk about Collins a little later on, but I want to start off with Murray. He's been struggling with the shot, and I'm a fan of what else. I'm a fan of everything else that he's able to do, but I'm really like, I'm like, man, you're missing a lot of these shots in big situations. And it's like part of the reason why you want another star, part of the reason why you go out and you give up 3 first-round picks to go out and get a star is, when Trey doesn't have it, or when you don't want Trey run, if Trey's not running the action, Murray's gonna hurt you. And I saw some players with him like that, don't get me wrong. But it seems like he's getting off to a real slow start. New team, I understand. New team, new city, new players, new teammates. So I understand that. It's just we need more from him. We need him to average triple double. I'm not saying average 30 points a game, but we need that 22, 23 with that 10 and 11. We need that. We need that because when he's doing that, notice when Trey and Murray is going, or when Murray gets going, Collins gets going. So, I know that it will come. I'm not doubting him. It's just I needed to come a little bit quicker, because
Yeah.
Murray is. I know he's a great player. He's an all star. He's a proven star. He's worth uh what we gave up to get him. I just need him to show that on a consistent basis. And I know he'll get his leg. I know that it'll be fine. But we need to start seeing this early because these tough games are going to start coming at us quick, quick, quick. And Rico goes, to be honest, DeJounte's been up and down to me. It's early, but he hasn't looked fully acclimated yet. And I agree, and I think you're right. It's just I need him to get going. I need him to get in that hot rhythm where he's hot for a couple games. I'm reading this last comment, and then I'm gonna let you go, Matt. Beasley says, I think Murray is going to be an all-star by December and January. He's still learning how to play with this. He's starting to play with this system. I agree. I have all faith in Murray. I'm just a little concerned on why he's not getting it going so quickly.
I would say Beasley used a very peculiar word. He used the word system.
System. I knew you were going to point out that
word. To the extent that we have a system, which depends on the day, right? I think a lot of his struggles come for two reasons. One, his minutes. I mean, he's playing by far the most minutes of his career. I know before last game he was leading the league in minutes. I believe he's still in the top 2, top 3 in minutes, well over 38 minutes a game. I mean, that's a lot of minutes. That's a lot, and especially I would say, particularly with the second unit, he has the ball in his hands 90% of the time. Okay. And I understand you want the ball. I mean, you want him on the floor, him or Young on the floor at all times. I got that part. I don't necessarily agree with it in the regular season. I agree with it for sure in the playoffs. But in the regular season, I don't necessarily agree with that because you get worn down, one. Two, like I said earlier, I know I said to you, Endless, Murray and Young have to get acclimated playing with each other, and then they have to get acclimated playing without each other. So you play one way with Young and Murray playing together, they play one way, and then they have to play a completely different way without each other. So that's a lot you have to get used to. And I would much rather you get used to playing you want to stagger sometimes, but you don't want to stagger all the time. And now Nate has gotten into his warped mind that I call him stale, because once he has something, or once he does something, he's gonna run it into the ground. And I noticed Young Trey plays the whole first and whole third. Murray plays into the 6-minute mark of the Murray comes out at the 6-minute mark of the first, comes back in the start of the second, and plays into the 6-minute mark of the second, and then Young comes back in and joins him. Young plays all the entire third quarter, rest of the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and then they play with each other together. And
it's so predictable.
I mean, man, it's like I don't even need to watch the game, and I could tell that's what's going to happen every single game. And I want to see what Murray looks like if he doesn't have the ball on every possession, particularly with the second unit. I want to see Jalen make some of those decisions with the ball at the high post and allow him to decide where the ball goes. You run Murray off some stagger screens, you run Murray off some curls, get him to the basket, what he does best, or even running him off some Iverson cuts to get him in the elbow to get him that mid-range shot that he likes. What we're seeing now is we're seeing more isolation ball. So they run a pick and roll into an isolation set for Murray over and over and over and over again. And, it's like I understand he can hit it from the mid range, but there's a plethora of other options you have to get him the ball in that same spot where he's catching it on the go, as opposed to having to come down, run a high screen and roll, and him get into the mid range. You want to show a variety of different actions to get him the ball in the same spots. Same thing with Collins, same thing with Hunter. You want to run a bunch of different actions to get the defense moving and get them the ball in their spots. That's not so predictable. And I'm resigned almost to the fact that this is going to have to be a season where our talent outshines our coaching. And I just hope we're strong enough to do that.
Yeah. And listen, uh, that what you said, where I'm gonna just to the comments here. It says Rico goes, he never played this many minutes per game in San Antonio. Yeah. And he's playing a lot of minutes. Beasley goes, Nate is definitely in the hot seat this whole year. So he better tighten up in these important games. I agree. And here's the thing. I want us to win the championship. I want us to make the finals. I want us to get deep. But that probably means Nate McMillan is going to stay the head coach. And it's like, I don't want to go out in the first round again, have to deal with the media and all that stuff. You know, you got Murray, you still first round exit or second round exit. But it's like, we do need that new coach because I'm excited for this group. And listen, we're gonna make trades. You know, I don't think um I don't think that this is the team that we're going to see after the back half of the season. I mean, after the first half of the season, I don't think so. There's going to be a lot of guys moved. And listen, we're going to get better. We're not going to just make moves just to make moves. You know, we're going to get better. But I'm excited for whatever group we have, whether it's with John or with Clint or without them. I'm excited for whoever we hire as a new head coach to get in here and be creative with this group because this is a group with a lot of talent, a lot of potential. I feel like Hunter can get, I feel like a coach can get the most out of Hunter with a little bit of creativity. And I agree. Running DeJounte on a whole bunch of mid-range shots, it's not smart because mid-range is like, I understand like he can be deadly from there, and I think he will get in the rhythm from there. But I like him going to the basket. Like he's so quick going to the basket. He shoots the three pretty well. There's some shots that are a little short or hit the back of the iron, but like he's quick going to the basket. I want to see more of that. I want to see that. I want to see that all-star come out of him. And I've seen it. I've seen it at times, but I can tell that is systematic. What's going on? And
That in the minutes, I think that has a lot to do with it.
the minutes, like you've got Trae Young on the team with DeJounte Murray. You don't have to run them both into the ground, you know. But you know, Murray will get it. You know, he's a proven guy. Collins, I think, like I said, I think when Murray gets it going, I think Collins gets it going. Which we can't depend on that. Because Collins has to be independent and he has to get it going. He has to be aggressive. Hunter is the guy I'm more concerned with. You get a contract extension, and now you're not attacking the basket like you were at the beginning of the season. When he attacked the basket, he looked like a totally different player, and we were a totally different team. Now he's settling for the jumpers again, the dumb jumpers, the 3-pointers. So, and shout out to Matthew in the chat. We played well, but didn't finish. Ref sold us though. I agree with all that. We got to finish. We got to finish. You look past the officiating. We got to finish because there's no guarantee we have a good play coming out of that timeout. Anyways, we name and non-draw things up. So, he already managed to clock that with having no timeouts left.
Right. And I'm like, a Kongwu for Capella switch. That right there,
that was
lost us the game.
Yep,
in my opinion, that lost us the game. And I
game.
knew it was coming because it's classic Nate. I know, I wrote, I knew it was coming. I was just hoping against hope that he was going to do something he doesn't do, but he and I tell Gerald this all the time, like there's two type of coaches. There's innovators and creators, and then there is managers. And Nate is a manager. He doesn't want to have to do any extra creativity. He doesn't want to have to do anything novel. He doesn't want to have to do anything that's not already already known and tried before. He doesn't want to do anything that involves any level of spontaneity. And the problem with that is I know what's coming. The defense knows what's coming. And while I believe Atlanta has just as much, I won't say more, but I'll say just as much talent as Milwaukee, you can't play them straight up. You have to, especially the good teams in the East, Boston's. You can't play. Unfortunately, you can't play them straight up. You're going to have to do some things that's not predictable that they haven't watched film on to get some sort of some sort of a leg up or an advantage. And with Nate, that's just not going to happen. You look at Utah, right? I mean, they're playing way better than expected. And I was watching them against Memphis. They had some very creative offensive sets. And they try different stuff on defense. They go to 1-2-2-1 press. They go to matchup zones. They do a lot of creative things. They ice the ball handler in pick and rolls. They do a lot of creative things that, I mean, would sound like, physics to Nate probably, but um it's just it's just like I said, it's disappointing because what this team could be if they just had the right strategy, schemes, and coaching.
It's just as simple. Like it's like it's just as simple as that because like Nate, to me, like it's like he. By the way, guys, this is the same Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan is the same reason why we don't have depth at the forward position. Because if you put depth at the forward position, he'll bury Jalen Johnson in the rotation. And we can't have that because it's like, how about it's like going to 9-man rotation? You this is what kills me with Nate. If it's not in the 9-man rotation, it's experimenting. And it's just, well, experiments don't win. We don't win if you're gonna experiment. That's not like that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. So Nate McMillan continues to be the hamstring of the team, and I agree. But trade rumors. I wanna touch on this real quick because I've been hearing some
Okay.
things, and
Yeah.
I certainly want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Clint Capella right now has an 85, 86% chance of being moved at the trade deadline or before the
I've,
trade
I,
deadline.
I've heard that too. I agree.
And I'm told that the front office is now changing their perspective on a return for Clint Capella. Before it was get him off the books, get a first round pick back. The Hawks, I think they're finally seeing that we could use a little bit of size. Like we don't have to have like significant players with size, but we could use some size.
Hmm.
I want to throw some names. I haven't heard this. I've heard that if this name were to come up at the deadline, that they would jump on it like yesterday. If a guy, and I have a feeling that Matt's going to give me an interesting face either way it goes here. But if there was an opportunity at the deadline to go out there and to get a true front court defensive anchor out there at the deadline, like a guy like Anthony Davis, they would do it. I know that the Lakers are very, very down right now, and they're actually having real conversations about moving Anthony Davis over Russell Westbrook. And honestly, I think him, because the problem is we don't have a guy that gives our guards optionality. Uh, when you have a big down that you can throw it to, and they can make a play or they can go and score and get an and one, then it gives you a lot of optionality. It gives you something else other than you having to create for them or you create for yourself. So I think that type of player. And then like there's some other players like Jonas Valanciunas has been playing really well. Yusuf Nurkic has been playing really well, who I've heard is a Travis type guy. Just certain guys like that. But I do know that Clint Capella has a very good chance of being moved. And Matt, just give me your opinion on that. So your opinion on that, what you've heard, and what do you think we need? Like, even if Okongwu slides into that starting five, financially we would have to probably move Collins in that deal. So it'd be AD and Okongwu in the front court, which I think is the front court that's going to be almost unstoppable defensively. And then What do you think we need if Okongwu moves up to the five? Do we think we like? What do you think we're gonna need offensively?
So different scouting friends and people I talk to, I would almost things could change because things are very fluid in front offices all the time. But I would pay
Yeah,
Capella moving at the deadline to like 90%. Um, eh, what they're looking for from Onyeka is to solidify his defensive rebounding. The minute he does that, because you can see right now, basically him and Capella are platooning minutes. They're basically even. And I think certain players respond different ways. So, if a player isn't probably and coaching on, Trey's minutes or Trey's spot, he's going to make it known that he's the man, and that for that position. There is no competition. It's me and then it's the guy behind me, right? With Capella, what we're seeing, unfortunately, is he knows Capella. I mean, he knows Okongwu's coming for that job. He knows that Okongwu is the center of the future. Instead of standing and fighting and pushing back on that notion, he's like, oh well, it's already decided, so I might as well not play as hard as I can, as physical as I can, as smart as I can, as well as I can, because I'm just a rental anyway. So it's almost like he has that defeated. Uh, he plays with that defeated mindset. Like, I already know I'm on borrowed time, so what's the point of me giving all a whole a lot of effort here? Um, and so I think what you're more likely to see is them move Capella for another big and some picks, whether those are real picks or not real picks. Um,
I'll take some fake picks.
you know, I'm looking at just for an example, right? Sacramento, right? I've heard they like Rashard Holmes. So you could see something like Capella move to Sacramento for Holmes, some picks, and a filler type player. And then you will put Capella. I mean, you'll put Onyeka in the starting position, and you'll have somebody like Rashard Holmes behind him. I think that would satisfy them. You could also see something. I don't know, how far this has gotten, but you can even see something like Capella move to Chicago for not Valanciunas, um,
Vucevic.
Vucevic, and Green. Um, what's his name?
Oh, so that would actually. So I've heard, depending on the deal, what type of the caliber of the center they get back will determine whether they're willing to pay the tax. If they get a guy like a Vucevic, who's making more than Capella, who's expiring, by the way, he could expire off the books and he can not open up any money, but he can get this back under the tax. But he's making like $4 more million than Capella.
Yeah. So what um, you would see them flip them for Vucevic plus Green plus a pick, and then you'll see something, a corresponding move, right? So they'll maybe cut Vecchi, they'll cut or they'll cut Vecchi and they'll move like a Kaminsky, right, at the deadline for plus second round picks. They have three this year, 3 second round picks this year. It's a salary dump to get back underneath the tax, but it makes them significantly better in the moment. But it also they do not, you know, it, they do not want to pay the tax. They may be compelled because the team plays really well, and it's that single piece that's needed to get them over the top. But I think it's more likely, like I said, it's more likely that they look for an upgrade at the center position, they look for an upgrade at the backup wing, and they look for an upgrade at the backup point guard position. Um, with using a variety of picks, Capella and Frank Kaminsky, with an eye on improving those three positions. I think that's more likely what's to happen during the season, and then after the season, you would move a Collins. Obviously, you would get a new coach. Um, I don't see them moving Hunter. I don't see that. Um, Travis
I've
loves
I,
DeAndre
I've I've
Hunter.
heard the only way they would move Hunter is if they're getting a bona fide superstar back.
Yeah, so I think it's more likely you're going to see Capella moved at the deadline and Collins moved this summer. Now, do not be surprised if Collins is ultimately moved for a player to help in the short term while they get significant picks back going forward. So to stock the compensation they gave away from Murray to do a corresponding move. So I think they're going to try in the short term and in the long term be competitive.
Yeah, and I want to touch on this because I'm not just bringing him up just to bring him up. I've heard legitimate things about him, about the Hawks. The will get, their willingness to get involved with a player like this. I've heard that if Anthony Davis does, come on the trade block, that they'll be calling and they don't mind paying the tax for a player like that because they feel like if you pair Davis with Murray and Trey, that that you can really compete with Hunter and Onyeka. I'm but I heard that they like the idea of Onyeka and Davis front court. But I think a deal like a Capella Collins unprotected pick in 2023 and the Sacramento pick, I think that'd be almost as good enough. Maybe the Lakers want a guy like Tyrese Martin or something like that, and you're willing to give it up. But you know, another thing like you know getting significant draft capital back is also important because we can't forget ultimately if you don't have the players, picks is how you're going to get a deal done.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to give up significant players, you're going to have to either have every one of your own draft picks that you're willing to give up unprotected or lightly protected, or you're going to have to to have just a flurry of draft picks. And their hope is they can get that back for Capella, but they know that it's not realistic to get that back for Capella. They've already messed up the Sacramento Kings draft situation for the next 6-7 years by getting Kevin Herter. So like if they can get a first round pick back for Capella in one of the years that we sent out the pick for Murray, best believe they're gonna do it. Me
Or
personally,
it could be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I like that. I like that Rashard Holmes scenario somebody brought up to me or last night. Um, it could be something like KZ Akpala and Trey uh,
Lyles,
Laos. Sorry, yeah, Trey Laos for Capella and a pick.
it's gonna cost
Um,
if you're gonna give me that, I want an unprotected first round pick
I think
this
they
year.
would. I think they would. We'll see. Yeah, I take that back. Yeah, because 24 is protected, so you can move this year's pick. I could see Sacramento doing that because they need a legitimate center. If you watch Sacramento, they need a legitimate center, and uh, it it would address a lot of things that we need now and in the future. And then Lyles, you could just get off that contract at the end of the year. That would give us the size that we need. That would give us Akapala. That would give us an upgrade at the wing over Justin Holiday. They would obviously cut Justin Holiday because they didn't want him in the first place. Um, and then you would move. Oh, obviously, you would move O'Connell into the starting center position. Um, as far as the
Any
backup point guard, I'm not really sure.
any
I
chance you could squeeze Davion Mitchell out of them, which you're not going to give him up, but
yeah, no, you're not gonna get Mitchell. I
Ter-
do know
Terrence Davis is a guy.
Terrence Davis. Yeah. I haven't heard about Terrence Davis. I've heard more about Rashard Holmes, um, more as because what you're. I mean, obviously Capella is your. I mean, I keep calling him Capella. My gosh, Onyeka is your center, but you do want some more size behind him, right? So let's say you get, like I said, you get Trey, Trey Lyles, Rashard Holmes, and a pick for Capella. And Holiday. I've heard that construction in recent days, and that's something that would obviously keep them under the tax, which is ideally number one what they want to do. Upgrade the position number two, and then number three that would give them more flexibility where you can put a Lyles who can space out the floor, and you can play more small ball five lineups with John Collins or Jalen Johnson, which is something that they're interested in. So
So, any
it's
chance you think that if Holmes, Lyles, and who else did you say?
KZ Akpala.
So, any chance that a deal like that could possibly involve? I really want I would really like Sacramento's pick unprotected this year.
For Capella, I don't know if that's going to be doable. Now, if you said a top 8 pick, I would because I would think they would go for that. Fully unvetted, unprotected, I can't see that. Simply because they didn't. I know they have not gotten off to the start that they've wanted to.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I want that. I would convince them that an unprotected pick is like
Because also with Capella, he has 2 more years left on his contract. Um, he has
3 more
has
years.
some slip. 30 years. I'm sorry. I thought the last year is a player option, so the 30 is a
Uh,
player option. That's why I didn't include it. But you see some slippage in his play, right, with Capella. And so I think, but for them, that would be the best center they didn't had in since DeMarcus Cousins for
mhm.
the Kings, you know, and so that would really legitimate that will really legitimate that position for Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get obviously he would get back to playing with Kevin Herter, somebody he obviously is friends with. So I think some of the big stuff, I think there's going to be a little bit of a hesitation to do it, only because from everything I have heard anybody associated with the team, they do not want to pay the tax this year under any circumstance. Now, like I said, the Hawks could be playing incredibly good basketball, and it's evident that the talent will rise above the coach. But if it's any type of scenario where it's clear you're going to need McMillan to make adjustments to get the team to where they ultimately want to go, I think they want to refrain from getting into the tax because no matter what, next year they're going into the tax. There's just no way to avoid it. They can't get off enough salary. It's just going to happen because even with 6 players under contract next year, they're in the tax. You know, even if you move off of Capella, they're still in the tax. So they're paying the tax next year. There's no doubt about it, right? Then you follow into the following year when Murray's a free agent, Onyeka's a free agent, um, uh, Johnson is a year out, Jaylen Brown is a free agent. You're definitely going to be in the tax that year as well. So this is probably the last year you're not going to be in a tax, and you want to see how well that Murray and Young backcourt flourishes, and if DeAndre Hunter is going to make that jump before you're going to already enter the tax, but you want to know if you can get by being just a fringe tax team, or you need to go deep into the tax. Um, Obviously you won't approach Golden State's level, but like the Lakers, right? Denver,
Yeah.
even better example. Denver is going to be a $50 million tax team, right? They're going to have to pay a $50 million penalty for the team that they have here. The Hawks want to avoid that for all costs at this season and wait for the next coach to come in to enter into the tax.
Which I think is a very smart thing. The reason you hear bring up unprotected pick, you get an unprotected pick from Sacramento. Uh, the
Do you think
chances
that's
are
reasonable for Capella?
it's Sacramento. I'll say that. I'll say that.
Hey,
No,
I do know. I do know they tried to get a top 10 out of Sacramento for the Kevin Herter trade, but they end up taking top 12. So I do know they tried to get top 10 for for
I would
uh,
take
for
if
Sacramento.
they wanted to do top 6 protected on that pick. I would take the pick because they're projected to have the 11th pick overall. Listen,
Mhm.
if you're wondering, imagine two unprotected picks package. Our unprotected pick, their unprotected pick, their other pick in the next year. Package that, you can either move up on draft night or you can go out and because listen, no matter I know I'm sick of drafting these guys in the mid lottery. I mean, not in the middle, but the mid first round and trying to fight for minutes for them. But if you can get a guy to come in the top 10, top 8, and that's a guy that can come in and make an immediate impact. Because think about it, we have some free agents on this roster. We have a free agent at the backup point guard position. We have a free agent at the wing position. We have a lot that's gonna be questionable. And if you can draft a wing, or you can draft one of these two guards, or one of these guards, that can really help your team. Um,
So I want to
and
ask you about. I want to ask you about two names that I have heard recently that are some interest to them this season.
okay, and I'm also gonna
Um,
after this, I'm gonna tell you a trade that I heard was very close due to a team's desperation. Go ahead.
I already mentioned one in Trey Lyles. Um, that's
I'm not a
somebody who I know they're interested in a lot. Another guy who they're interested in, like I said, they want to upgrade the center, backup, wing, and point guard position. And at the point guard position, there a name that is of interest is Reggie Jackson. He's somebody that they have had an eye on for at least the last year. And if not for him resigning with the Clippers, was somebody that they were, at the very least, would have flirted with going into the tax, or would have signed him, would have been a tax team up until the training camp, and then would have had to make a series of cuts to get underneath the tax. Um, so, what do you think about those two names, and do you think that those would help us to? Do you think we would be better?
Reggie Jackson for sure. I think will be better. I'll start there. Reggie is he's a gritty guard that can make quick decisions. I like his tempo, the way he plays. So I'm a fan of Reggie Jackson. Trey Lyles is I like his size. I like his versatility. But it's just, do I think if we got Trey Lyles today in a trade for just picks, because we could do that. We have a trade exception that he fits in. Do I think that we get better today? I'm not gonna make a whole bunch of noise because like Trey Lyles, like I said, I'm a it's like I think he's a good player with the right team. It's just if we got him, I wouldn't be that excited thinking that that we get significantly better. You get Reggie Jackson, you get significantly better. Trey Lyles, on the other hand, he struggled to start off the season. Um, highest points this season is 10. And he's shooting 30% from three, 38% from the field, so could use, could shoot better. Um, I would take Reggie quicker than I would take him.
Mhm.
Um, but a guy that I do know that was very close to being a Miami Heat was Frank Kaminsky. Miami was desperate for front court help. Desperate. You saw they had to play Udonis Haslam yesterday. um, they had to play
Man,
Udon- they had to play Udonis Haslam yesterday. And it was like a Frank Kaminsky for Max Strus swap. But Miami was seeking some second round draft capital. Um, and I like Matt Strus. I think he's a really good shooter, far better than Justin Holiday could dream of, and is really good coming off of screens.
I just think he's such a defensive liability that you kind of compromise the defensive rope that you've gained so far this season. Because I think everybody would agree the Hawks are better defensively than they were last year. The second unit cannot score really well. I mean, they really can't score. But at the very least, the other
Strus would give you a pop.
yeah, yeah. But at the very least, you give up. They don't give up a lot of points. The second unit doesn't give up a lot of points. Um, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Max Strus. I would take your seven before I would take Max Strus in a heartbeat. And for it's so odd he doesn't play. Um, I'm not sure why that is. He looked like a
I like him.
star in summer league. He could dribble. He's and pass. I can't figure out why he doesn't play for them. Is really odd.
I like him. I think I I've always liked him. Big body.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure what that is about. Maybe he
Matt
didn't pass the
Matthew
body
goes.
fat.
Yeah, Matthew goes in the chase. Says, "Do Strus for Frank in a heartbeat, please."
I like Harrison Barnes too. I do know that they
Barnes is
talked
so.
about
It's not even funny how close Barnes was to being a Hawk this summer.
yeah, yeah. They did that was Collins for Barnes swap. That was
Mhm.
certainly very close.
Yeah,
I do know that ownership is not a fan of was not a fan of that swap at all. Okay.
I figured.
For a
Yeah,
number of for a number of reasons, but predominantly it has to do with well, Barnes is on an expiring deal. Um, and Collins just means so much to the fan base. He means so much to the city. And I bring that up because if you're going to move somebody like that, you have to bring somebody back that is um, regarded as better. So, and I'm not sure Harrison Barnes is better than John Collins. I mean, I know he's not, but I'm not sure even in the context of our team, the way it's currently constructed, I'm not sure Harrison Barnes, excuse me, I'm not sure Harrison Barnes would be able to help us. I think Collins has been really good this season on defense. I think Collins has been really good as a rebounder this year. His 3 point percentage and overall percentage from the field has dipped a little bit. I think that has to do with his attempts has been down considerably the last two games as opposed to the first four. Um, I would like to see them run more sets for John Collins. Um, so I know you want to get in. We're going to get into Collins and Hunter in a minute here, but I think it's a combination of John Collins' status and his the fact that he's been pretty I mean, very fairly well this season.
yeah. I agree. I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we'll ease into John Collins and DeAndre Hunter. Um, the game tomorrow, we're going against Toronto. It's another big versatile team that can
Mm.
switch everything. Pretty much all their players can switch, and that's where they, if you play slow, you got to go against a tall defense, a tall set defense. So, what do you think are the keys to winning tonight, and who do you think is going to need to show up for sure? And what type of production do you need? Do you think we're going to need from the bench?
I think Collins. I think tomorrow is a Collins game. Because if you look across he's really the only one with a matchup advantage. Trey got to go against Barnes. Um,
Trey?
well, Scotty Barnes is going to be guarding Trey Young.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh, so really, I think Collins has a clear advantage. Pascal Siakam, best defensive days are behind him. So I think Collins has a clear advantage. That's where I will hunt. I would feature John exclusively against Toronto. And if you look at his numbers, he really has good games against Toronto. What's surprising is he struggles so much against Milwaukee, but he really has good games against Toronto. Trey does too, really, but I would feature Collins exclusively tomorrow. Obviously, you want to be creative and do some things to get him the ball in not obvious spots, but you definitely want to feature John Collins, as Dominique says, feed him and fan him tomorrow. Um, the bench, I think you really got to play AJ Griffin. I would not overreact to Justin Holiday's good one game out of six. Okay. And it's okay, even if you want to play Holiday, you could play Griffin with him just because it's not binary. You don't have to play one and not the other. You could play them together. Nate. Um, so I would play Griffin a lot tomorrow simply because if you look at Toronto's bench, he really has a size advantage. And he can probably get to his spots a little bit better against Toronto than because he's not going up against Aurora and some of the teams that he's faced thus far. He really can get to his spots against Toronto, against Flynn and some other guys he's playing against, Banton and some other guys. So I really think the bench has to, they just can't tread water. They really got to start stepping up and expanding the lead. It's not enough anymore to keep the game. The starters go out, they're down by 4. The starters come back, they're down by 6. You know, you really got to start to take a situation where they're down by 4 or 6 and they're up by 4 or 8 when the starters come back into the game. And the only way you're going to do that is by playing guys you haven't played so far this season that much, getting different looks, putting Jalen Johnson in a position to be successful as opposed to standing up in a corner, moving him off the ball, allowing him to make decisions from the high post, allowing him to get the ball off on catch and run situations, going downhill towards the basket. He is 6'9", and just utilize his passing ability and get Murray coming off screens and get Murray attacking the basket to get him into a rhythm. And so that's what I look forward to tomorrow for tomorrow's game.
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff that you said. I want us to take advantage of a lot of those matchups. Barnes, Scotty, he is pretty much their best defender aside from, I think him and OG are the best defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Trent, he can't go for another 45-point game on us. Um,
Hey, we don't got Kevin Herter anymore, so I don't think that's going to happen.
yeah. So Gary and you just got to sustain these guys. Like these are big guys. They're gonna come out and they're gonna put a lot of pressure on you. But expose that they can't shoot. You just got to expose that they can't shoot. Make their defense work. I'm getting sick and tired of us coming up and jacking up like one shot. You know, like make their defense work But at the same time, like if you're out in transition, you gotta go. You gotta go. But like when like on a regular play, like move the ball. Like a lot of those guys, like they're pretty like some of those guys are pretty slow footed, like some of those bigger guys. So just you just gotta really like Toronto has a lot of holes. You really have to expose those holes. And it's very easy to do. Like I mean, you saw the Sixers do it without Joel Embiid. Um, and hey, they're like they're coming off of a couple of days of rest, and they're gonna be ready to come after them. Especially since they started out um, slow last game. They're gonna want to come out and punch us in the mouth early. We can't let it happen. We can't let it happen because when you get buried against teams, you see how hard it is to come out of it. But I want Murray, I want Collins involved, I want Hunter involved, and Trey's gonna give us Trey. You know, but like I said, but like you said, I need that production out of our bench. I need Aaron Holiday to get back to having those big games. And I need Jalen and Onyeka to come up big. So, listen, I want our guys. I want our bench to play so well that Masai Ujiri gets right on the phone after the game and says, "Hey, well, what's it going to cost to get Onyeka and Jalen Johnson?" That's what I want after tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yes. I want to say, man, we finally beat a good team, especially on the road.
Yeah.
We beat a good team on the road. Because I know we got the talent. That's what's so disappointing. I know we got the talent, but it just reminds me so much of not saying we're Golden State. I'm not saying we're Golden State. We're not Golden State. We don't have 4 Hall of Famers. But I am saying this reminds me so much of Golden State, how they have the right roster. You know, the what people thought about Steph and Clay and Draymond and Bo and Andrew Bogut and Sean Livingston and Barbosa and these guys pre 2015 as opposed to post 2015 is completely different. When they fired Mark Jackson after he won 51 games, it was almost a riot outside, the facilities, because they're like, what more could you expect out of this roster? This is a mediocre roster, and he won 51 games with it. And some members of the fan base, certainly the organization, was like, no, we're a championship contender, but you saw the worst version of us because of our coach, our limited coaching staff. And so the next is obviously Steve Kerr. Now Steve Kerr is absolutely brilliant and dynamic as a coach, so you're not always going to hit Pater like that with the next guy, but it is clear, I think, that Nate is not the right coach for this team. You just have to hope that the talent, um, you know, supersedes the coach.
Yeah, and I think it will throughout the season. I think we're a really good team. I think having Murray and Trey when they get really just gelling together, team is gonna be hard to stop. Um, but it's just one of those things where we're gonna start out slow because of the coach. The coach is gonna he's gonna, oh well, we just gotta stick to what we gotta do, and like he seems so calm. that this there you go, that this it's like my goodness, it's like, and he seems so calm in these situations. It's like, get with the game, it's like, come on, like could you please get with the game? It's
He's the
like,
only one. He's the only one immune. He's the only one immune. All these other coaches can get into the game. They're live. They're in the game. They're coaching. They're live. They're into. I watched Chauncey the other night. He upped the whole game. He's moving around. He has that tablet. And I noticed the modern good coaches got the tablet. The old dinosaurs got the whiteboard drawn like this, stick figures, and the modern coaches got the tablets. They're not even necessarily drawing up play per se. They're showing you a live film, what's going on, what the defense is doing, and how to react, how to combat that. Nate, you know, I'm not even convinced they do film study. I'm just they show up and it's probably like a PowerPoint presentation on the other team, their
Hey,
event, what they do, what we're
yeah,
trying to get accomplished in this game. There is no there is no modernism into anything that we do. We're so
yeah,
2004. I was gonna say 99, but he's included some horn sets on offense, so I guess that brings it up to 2004. You know what I'm saying? But tomorrow, like I said, with Toronto, man, they do a lot of creative stuff. They run blind pigs. They do a lot of creative stuff. And you bring that stuff up to Nate, he probably think you're talking about, like I said, he probably think you're talking about physics or geometry. How you gonna guard the blind pig, Nate? The what? So pig? I never ate pig. Pig? Like no, I'm like oh my goodness, like no, it's a reverse hammer screen. A hammer screen. What is a hammer? So yeah,
we need to stay with our. We need to stay. We don't need to be doing all that. It's too much
yeah,
change can cause confusion, and like
right.
yeah, I see that so much. Like him doing like PowerPoint. He probably calls everyone in 9:46 in the morning. We have to be specific about our time. He calls everyone in. Everyone's supposed to meet in the practice facility, line up on the baseline, and then he does roll call. And
And John kind of mentioned this the other day. He said, coach is very. He said coach is very specific, and he's very precise in what he's looking for. Code words for this man is the definition of rigidity in the dictionary. He is no holds bar as rigid and passe as they come. And it's so crazy. Like my dad's older than him, and it's not as you know what I'm saying. Like this guy act like he's 75 years old. Pop is more innovative, more creative than him, and Pop almost 80. And if you watch the Spurs play, they run some stuff I would love us to run. And I know last thing I'll touch on Murray again. I know he's probably looking at what even the simple stuff they ran last year. The high post split cuts that they ran and the flare cuts and backdoor stuff. They don't even and that's not super complex, but they don't even run that. The Hawks don't even run that stuff. And it's like you
yeah,
said
and it's
last
not.
night, analyst. Nate, not only is he rigid, he's also a liar. Okay, because he promised us we were going to be Spurs 3.0. We were going to run all this stuff, and including a pistol and a horns is not creative. I don't know who told him that was creative. That's not creative. It's not. It's the most simple, basic, obvious play to run somebody off the ball that there is in mankind. You know what I'm saying? Like they're running that, and we run it at the Y, and we're not even organized, and we're running that stuff off the Y to get a guy a good shot. You know what I'm saying? And then he's so stupid that he don't even understand that Justin Holiday is a catch and shoot player. So he's not even really that good coming off of a curl screen. You know what I'm saying? You got to get him the ball stationary, but he just ooh.
Remember,
It's a
remember
Sunday, so I'm gonna refrain from what I want to say.
that fist, cool. No, I think it's clear, calm, and connected. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
the
that
yeah
is that
this is the yeah
that
this
is
is this is
something.
awful.
The
This is
fact that
awful.
he had Tony Wrestler waste his money on that. Oh my goodness, that fist and that CCC in the practice facility. I said no, he didn't. I said no, he didn't. I said, what is this? I said, oh my goodness. I said, Nate is he's destroying our culture. He's making our culture like we're playing in the 1990s. well, I just and do you on the live stream the other day, you made a perfect interpretation of Nate in the post game. I just thought that this is him. I just thought I just thought we didn't execute on the defensive end the way that we would have liked. Our we didn't get back the way that we should have. And
I looked at the matchups and I thought that Holiday would be a better matchup on
oh
their
my,
guards as opposed to AJ. It was matchup specific. Like, you're an idiot, okay? If that's what you truly thought and you're just not saying something just to stop so they can stop asking about AJ Griffin, but that's dumb because you seen Holiday get cooked the whole preseason and the first 4 games of this season. What makes you think he could stay in front of Kate Cunningham? You know what I'm saying? It's just then Drew Holiday last night, and I'm like, I don't care that they're brothers. Like, he got him on Drew Holiday. I don't care that they're brothers. I don't care. That's not fascinating to me that they're brother Garten brother. Well, he getting cooked. And Nate just standing there confused why Justin Holiday is getting beat off the dribble
well,
time and time again.
I thought we would stay cool, calm, and collected throughout this tough
Then Aaron
time.
Holiday out there dribbling the air out the ball, playing 25 minutes, just throwing terrible passes out there. Like, this is some, like I said the other day, like this some talent show going one-on-one. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just, and he's lucky that Justin Holiday hit some of them shots. Because if he didn't, boy, oh boy, I'm like, one of these days, a analyst, either this channel or the Mod channel, I'm gonna register it with the team PR with the PR team and to get our media credentials. And I don't care if you take my credentials. Just give me one 5-minute interview with Nate McMillan.
He'd probably
Just
walk out.
yeah. Let me get
I
one
just
five. Hey, I'll handle my badge on the way in the room because I said I know you're gonna take it on my way out. So here you go. But let me add. And I know why they do it. Because it's only I think 3. Like major publicized media outlets that ask them questions, and obviously they're credentialed, so they can't lose their credentials. They won't be able to get into the games. So I understand why they throw some lollipops over to Nate. But my understanding is they ask him much more difficult questions off the record. But yeah, they're lucky.
look.
I changed my major from journalism. They're lucky because I would have lit them up, baby.
Yeah, Matt would not have any credentials. He would say, can you get this young man out of here? I just can't
Right,
get with
right.
this new school stuff.
Yeah.
We need
What?
to we need to stay cool. That was so funny. You see, probably running PowerPoints on. He probably got bullet points on. All
Oh
right,
yeah,
and he probably don't even have updated technology. He probably still uses what's that he probably what's that a search
projector.
icon with
Oh,
the E
Explorer.
Internet Explorer probably still
Yeah,
uses that on them
yeah,
old
yeah,
computers.
yeah.
Has
Hey,
probably
son, where's my rice pudding? Son, where's my rice pudding? God damn it, it's 5 o'clock and I don't have my rice pudding and my supper in front of me. What is going on? And so, it's like, golly. And I do want to say, this is not a personal attack. I have nothing against Nate. I heard he is a great man. I'm simply talking about basketball and his rigidity and how it probably spills over to the rest of his life. But I digress.
rice pudding. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
probably got that rice pudding. Yeah. Yeah.
Rice
And he
pudding.
only 50. He not even 60. Like it's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
did.
One
I
of
did.
my
I did hear that that Nate before the game, Nate was like, "Well, we have to we gotta be places by a certain time." But I stopped by JJ's Fish and Chicken when we
I'm
came.
shocked. I'm shocked. He probably get the smothered chicken with the chicken parm. You know the the biscuits with sausage and gravy. You know, real keeping it real basic, real basic. He don't want to try nothing too spicy, too avant garde. He want to keep it real simple. Over easy eggs. He want to keep it real simple.
Oh man. Hey, you know his son named Jamil. He'll call him. He'll call him on his little slide up phone.
Hey, no, probably don't even eat over easy eggs. Probably alternate between over easy and a hard boiled egg.
Hey, Jamil. Hey, it's Nate. Uh, uh, we we're about to start film session here in about 2 minutes and 58 seconds. I need my coconut water because my doctor my doctor said I have to have it by a certain time.
Hey, no shade on coconut water. I drink coconut water to this day. I drink about bottles a week. I love my coconut water, but
That stuff's
I
disgusting.
yeah. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I love my coconut water. I do. I need when I leave in a minute. I'm about to go over there somewhere, but when I leave, I'm stopping by CVS right here on the corner to get me some coconut water.
Oh my goodness, that stuff is disgusting. That stuff is
It depends. It
disgusting.
really, what I found is it really depends what brand you get because some of the inexpensive ones are disgusting, but um, some of the more well-known brands, it's a lot better. You just can't buy coconut water from any label. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be it has to be um, something specific. It got to
Yeah,
be um, yeah, it got to be something real specific.
yeah,
Um,
but yeah, like Nate, he is something else. Listen, that was funny. That was funny because another thing I noticed about Nate, it's like in his exit interview, like this told his whole summer. He was like, uh, you know, um, we'll go, and then he'll have like that random smile that come out of nowhere where stuff is not even funny. He'll go, he'll be like, you'll go and you'll clean out the garage. And I was like, "What?" He was like, "This summer, we can clean out the garage." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, we can go clean out the garage, and we're gonna just take some time off, and it's like, dude, get your words out. But
yeah, he's so
Nate
long
is
winded. He's so
he
long
is
winded and
very
stuff. You would think that uh, he would be able to get behind some of this creativity, but I just found out he just long winded for no reason, and he just be. I'm like, dude, you already said that, or you could have got. I thought you were gonna have some philosophical epiphany or something. It's just you said that you could have said that with such fewer words, and you could have got to the point much quicker. But I'm like, man, he's just ooh.
and
Hey, just make it.
he'll just be sitting there like he's like and it's like Really, it's like first of all, it's annoying to me. I no longer, I really can't watch the press conference anymore. He says the same stuff. He says the same stuff. And Demond got mad at him. He was like, "Bro, you say the same stuff." It's like, we weren't set, and we didn't stick with that fist. That's probably what he told Capella in the huddle whenever he missed the defensive rotation to Bobby Portis on the perimeter when he called that timeout. He was like, "Hey Clint, remember, cool, clear, calm, connected. That fist, stay with that fist. We got to stay as a connected five out there." And so ridiculous. But you know who else? I know is like that in the NBA. You got him. You got Doc Rivers. Doc is probably like Doc. I heard Doc was playing slow 1960s music in practice. Like no one does that. It's like, and then
I'll say if you walked into our practice, there is a lot of '90s R&B, but that's because that's Trey, and that's what Trey like. Apparently, that's all he listens to is R&B music. He listens to
oh
no rap, no hip hop at all. So, well, I'm probably sure an equation of Quavo song, but like 99% of what he listens to is R&B. He doesn't listen to any hip hop, and that's probably too foreign for Nate. Nate's like. Um, this doesn't sound like my disco era themed music here. What is who is Jagged Edge? What is this? Goody Mob? My stars. What is this music? So yeah, he just
yeah,
one more season. That's what I keep telling myself. One more year, one more year,
yeah,
one
yeah.
more
That
year. Hey, the what gives me hope is I was just watching yesterday last night. I was bored, so I had popped in that 2006 NBA Finals run with Dallas. Looking at, I'm like, well, Avery Johnson led them to the finals, so hey, anything's possible. They won 64 games that year, and they made it all the way to the NBA Finals. So I say, hey, a good you can't overcome coaching, right? So
yeah, but that was certainly funny. We're gonna have to get back on here again and play out some more scenarios out. That was funny. But I mean, hey, uh, listen, guys, we're just gonna go wherever the wind takes us on these live streams. Um, still getting, still getting used to this. Like I say, it's always good to have another person up here, getting more lives in, which I've been wanting to do. Hey, this week, stay tuned. We're gonna drop a video, this week, and it's gonna be a very interesting video. But that's gonna do it for this live stream, guys. I want to thank all y'all for tuning in. Rico, Beasley, Matthew, Joe, and Big O with the jam. I want to thank all y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a good rest of y'all Sunday.